In this podcast episode, I talk with a parent of a daughter who doesn't want to take their medicine. They haven't been feeling well and they need to take some prescribed medication and they don't want to. So you'll hear us going through a discussion and a role play about how this parent could handle that scenario, maintaining close connection while taking responsibility for the welfare of her daughter. Enjoy. Hey, Kelsey, so happy that you're here with me.
I'm always so happy to see you and learn from all your wisdom.
Mm. In global terms, can you kind of lay out the scenario that you wanted us to talk about today?
Yes, so I have a 7 and 9 year old, and they're both girls, and they both are very, assertive and able to express themselves, which is something that I, really worked with them on and hoped for them. And sometimes navigating that when we have some required things we need to do around their health becomes a little bit of a conflict for me internally, and then how to position that, because I really want to encourage their body autonomy and empowerment. If I know that they know how to make good choices for themselves, and we're really big on intuitive eating in our home, and yet we had a few health things at the end of last year, and both of them were dealing with some foot injuries, and so we were supposed to be doing PT and wearing a brace and
Wow.
not running, things like that. And I was wondering how you would manage a scenario like that, where there's direct medical advice being given by a doctor, and they're having a difficult time like really taking that in and putting it into practice, because overall I think they're having a hard time with seeing the long-term benefits, when right now it feels so good to play, and right now it doesn't hurt in this moment, and they can't
Ah,
see how it's causing inflammation or how it's
wow.
not giving them the rest, long term.
Wow. That's such a great um, kind of scenario and a little bit unusual. I should tell people that you've been in our membership, our monthly Parenting Without Power Souls membership for years, right?
Yes.
So I remember when your children were so young, and so hearing that they're 7 and 9 confuses me a
I
lot, to be
know, I
honest.
know. And they've grown so much, and all of your advice has been an integral part of us
Oh,
maintaining such deep connection.
that's wonderful to hear. So, but this is a situation, and I love that kind of the problem is a result of you doing a great job at empowering your girls to have a voice, right?
Kind,
Like
yeah.
you only have a problem because they're not subservient or scared of you.
Yeah,
They're
yeah. They're like, it's my body, it's my choice. They really say.
Oh my gosh. So awesome. So well done, you, for kind of cultivating that so firmly in both of your children, especially girls, I should say. But whatever gender, we want our kids to know that it is their body and they have a right to talk about what they want or don't want. And we have a responsibility as parents to be up in that helicopter and see the long-term implications of choices that they may be making today. So a child who says, listen, it's my body is telling me to eat a gallon of ice cream. Who are you to tell me I can't do that? Or it's my body and I want to go swimming in that 40-degree water. And who are you to tell me I shouldn't be able to do that? Or I don't want to go to sleep. I'm not tired. Who are you to tell me? So, right?
Right, exactly. That's why I figure it's a universal thing, in the sense that everyone's kid's gonna get sick at some point and not want to take the medicine or not want to go to sleep, or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So as you well know, because we've done so much coaching over the years and you've heard me coach so many parents, I'm sure a lot of this is already kind of settled into your brain. But for the benefit of those who might be less familiar with my approach, the first step would be not to come at our kids with information that they aren't yet open or receptive to hearing, but rather to come alongside them. And I'm guessing you've done that already. But that would look like, sweetheart, it's time to, and maybe you can give me a particular, like what is one thing that they are resisting?
So my oldest, the biggest thing is she really hates taking vitamins or supplements. I mean, it wasn't even a prescribed medication, but any of these things that the doctor said turmeric or what, would be really helpful. And then when she actually got sick in the same season of also having her injury. So then she was supposed to be taking some medicine for that. And she says, well, I don't like it. I don't like the taste. Why would I eat some each? Basically you taught me to take care of my body and listen to my body, and my body's saying, I don't like that.
So let's role play it, okay? I think we'll have fun doing that. So, sweetheart, here's your medicine. The doctor said this is going to really kind of help speed along your recovery and also make sure you're not going to get worse. Here you go.
In the hardest of times when she's really not in self, she would say something uh, like, no, I'm never going to take that ever, ever, ever.
Oh, so you were hoping, so we give her in fantasy land what she wants in the real world. So, sweetheart, you were hoping that the medicine was kind of optional.
Yeah, it's my
Yeah,
choice.
right. Oh, can you say more about that? Sweetheart. When I say sweetheart, that means I'm talking to the child in the role play, not to Kelsey. I'm not being overly familiar with it. So, sweetheart, can you say more about that when you say it's your choice?
Well, you taught me that I'm supposed to be able to decide what foods I like to eat and what I
Hmm.
want to do. It's my body, and I don't like that. So there's no way
Yeah,
I'm ever going to eat that.
got it. So I'm going to pause the role play for a second. A couple things I want to flag here. The first is you notice that she's asserting, I'm never going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. It's tempting. It's like she's dangling this challenge in front of me, and I'm not even going there because that is a no-win situation to argue, yes, you are. No, I'm not. You can't make me. I'm not going there. I'm sticking with letting her see me genuinely be curious and interested and respectful of what's going on inside of her.
Yeah.
So let me see if I have this right, sweetheart. You feel that as it's your body and as I've taught you, that you have a right to decide what you do and don't take into your body, and that you really don't like this medicine or the taste of it. And you're kind of asserting your feeling that you shouldn't be forced to have it. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to pause. So how do you feel right now as my daughter?
Well, acknowledged. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And if you were my daughter and things had not gone this way in other instances, would you be a little bit surprised that it's going?
Sure. Sure. Yeah. If it's the first time that you've really tried to see my point of view.
Okay. So that I want to just underscore for everybody, that is one of the strongest ways we have to create connection, receptivity, and a sense of dependence, like the proper hierarchy of parent-child relationship, is when we come alongside our kids, we seek to understand, and we don't do the predictable thing, which is try and force our will upon them, right? So all of those things are leaving you as my child, maybe a little like, wow, this is different. And that's a good thing, not to scare you by being unpredictable in scary ways, but just, oh, this is different. And
Hmm.
maybe you relax a little bit. So as I understand it, you're saying, sweetheart, that, it's your body. And as I've taught you, you have a right to say. So let me tell you about a little predicament I have as your mama. Okay. Can I do that? Would that be all right?
Yes.
It's my job. Thank goodness, because I rolled the best dice in the world. I'm the luckiest mama to be your mama. And that means a lot of things. It means I keep you safe, I keep you warm, I make sure you have a safe place to go to sleep at night, a cozy bed, a good school. All of those things are my responsibility, thankfully, as your mom. You understand that, right?
Yes.
And I want you to imagine that you were babysitting for your little cousin, Tommy. And Tommy was 2 years old, and it was your job. Maybe you were with, your auntie, but you were the one overseeing Tommy's care while your auntie did some work. And Tommy really wanted to run and play in the street. What would you say?
I have to stop you. I'd have to grab him and keep him
Yeah,
from
yeah.
getting hurt.
And what if little Tommy saw a bottle of vinegar and really wanted to drink it? He just thought, this is going to be so funny. Would you let him?
Oh, I'd warn him it would taste terrible. Wouldn't let him.
Yeah, I know. You wouldn't let him have it. So do you see, when we're responsible for another person, as the bigger person, as the person who knows a bit more about things like that might happen not just in the moment, but that might happen later. It's kind of a tough job, isn't it? It would you might not like saying, "Tommy, you can't play in the street." And he might be so mad. It's my body. I get to put it where I want to.
Yeah.
Kind of a dilemma, isn't it, hon? Yeah. So
Yeah.
now let's play a game, and I'm going to be you, and I'm going to be kind of having this bronchitis, and there's an antibiotic or whatever it is I need to take. And you be Kelsey, you be my mama, and you try and get me to take the medicine and see what it feels like to be the one who loves me as your baby so much and wants me to get better, and see what that's like. Hi,
Oh,
mommy.
that's a cute idea. Um, it's time for you to take your medicine.
Oh,
I can't
no,
yeah.
no, 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 not going to do that. It's my body. You can't make me. I don't like it.
Hmm. What can we do? How can we get you to take this medicine? It's my
No,
job.
mommy, you've told me it's my body. So I'll stop here because this could go on for a while.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
great idea.
giving you a couple of ideas. So the first is to kind of really acknowledge, that you've heard her and validate. The second is to kind of paint a picture of the dilemma, not to make her responsible for your problem, which is how you get my daughter to take the medicine, but to kind of widen her perspective a little bit and help her understand that even though it's her body, you have certain responsibilities that have to take precedence at times, the way they would if she were watching her little cousin. She would have to deny him the chance to drink vinegar or run into the street. So we're expanding her understanding, her even her empathy, and then we're doing the game, and we don't have to do all these things, but the game, the role play, can be a lighter way to sort of put her in the driver's seat and in the predicament that you're in. So I'm going to be quiet now and just sort of give me some feedback on how that lands, if any of those might be helpful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's a fun way to engage her in it because she can relate. She has two little cousins, and so I could
Yeah.
use it as an example of how, if she saw them doing something dangerous, how she would help them. And
And another thing you might want to do is not do this at the moment when she's to take the medicine. And it's maybe late afternoon and the day is sort of settling down. And you know what, honey, this morning when it was time to take that medicine, we really didn't do that well. And I was hoping that we could figure out a way together to make it happen more easily because I can't not do my job as your parent and follow the instructions of the nutritionist or the doctor, whatever. It would be bad for me. I couldn't kind of be comfortable with myself if I didn't look after you as best I can and try and help you get well faster so you can enjoy the holidays. But you also have a right to say, this is how I'm feeling about it, and I don't like that taste. So
Mhm.
let's talk about what we could do differently that might make it work easier.
Yeah, yeah, I think that I can say that that helped doing it at a different time in general because yeah, when their emotions aren't as high, when she doesn't feel
Yeah,
threatened, like I am gonna force her in the moment. Like we had a
yeah.
talk later, in the bath when she was in the bathtub, and then we were able to talk for
Ah,
a while about it, and she was just much more
awesome.
calm. So that would
Great.
that's a good idea,
Awesome.
just to wait for that instead of like the second that it does get kind of wait for that until
That's
later.
great. That's great. And of course, in some things medical, it helps to have the doctor sum it up instead of you or run interference. It might even help to get us to read the doctor's notes and say, here's what the doctor has advised, or here's what I've read online about boosting your immune system after this kind of virus, that these 3 vitamins, or maybe you say there are these 5 supplements that I've read can really speed along your recovery. Which 3 do you find the easiest to take? So she has a little bit of choice. But such a great scenario, and I'm both feeling empathy for you and sort of a little sorry that you have to go through it, but also you've created a good problem in a way.
That's what I hope. Yeah, because this is a tension that they'll have to hold forever. It's something that we still hold as adults of figuring out how much do I want to prioritize my self-care and how much do I want to prioritize the pleasure of not having to do that thing that we
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
do. So
yeah.
the easy way
And,
out.
and to be honest about it, and maybe you could even at a different time, so you're not bombarding her, say, you know what, I don't know if I ever told you the story about when I was a little bit older than you, or a little bit younger than you, or in my 20s, and I got this da 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 da, and I had to wear this brace, and oh my gosh, I hated it so much. And it was so heavy and so clumsy, and it made my foot itch. Or you could just tell her a story. There's likely, something that you could share with her that kind of just helps her know that you understand the discomfort, or legitimizes your aversion, her aversion to something because you've lived it yourself. And maybe you even say, and the only way I got through it was, and then you could fill in the blank. What was it? Like I could say for me personally, as Susan, I had to wear a heavy, heavy boot for a hairline fracture on my foot. Oh my gosh, it was so uncomfortable. And I could tell that story, and I could tell the story of um, kind of reminding myself pretty frequently of the pain I had been in, um, and not wanting to repeat that. And maybe with your daughter, do you remember how horrible you felt when you were had that high fever, or when you were throwing up? And this, my job is to try and help you not have those experiences as much as I can. And so whatever it is that kind of helps her kind of get out of the present, as weird as that sounds for someone who loves talking about living in the moment, but
Yeah.
to mature means that we can think ahead. What would the like I sometimes do this. What would When I go for exercise, for instance, I'll say, I don't really want to go. And you could tell her a story like this. I don't really want to exercise. It's so cold, or I'm so cozy and comfy. And then I say, well, what would my 80-year-old self say to me? My 80-year-old self would say, thank you so much, Susie, for taking those walks. And you could say, what do you think that your 3 week later self would say if you're completely better and you feel great again? Would it thank you for taking this icky medicine, or would it wish you hadn't?
Yes, yes. We did talk when she was in the bath, we did talk about her, like, her 80-year-old self thinking way out, and then I
Ooh.
thought, well, maybe that's too far out in the future where it's hard to act, but I talked about her granny, and I was like, "You see how she's still popping around, able to be so active," and that's not always the case. Then you see your other family member, and they're, in a lot more pain, and it's more of a
Mm,
some of these things you're doing are going to help you in the long run. It's not just now. And we kind of talked about that same as your
awesome.
teeth. These are the same teeth you're going to have forever. But I
Wow.
like your idea too about even saying like your 3 weeks from now self, if you start feeling better, because I wonder if that was like so far away for her that
Uh-huh.
it felt
Yeah.
like too distant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's really helpful. Thank you. And I'm sure this is going to keep coming up, in a lot of other ways. So
Great. Well, it is always a joy to see you and to have time with you, and, learn from what you're learning as a parent of now not so young children.
yes, yes, there are always challenges and benefits of each stage because yeah, they're so much more independent. It's incredible. They have these whole other, sets of questions and they're so curious. It's awesome.
Oh, man. What a
Yeah.
great, great story. Thank you so much for joining me today, and
Cool.
look forward to seeing you in our next call.
Yeah, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everyone. So we were just chatting, and you said something so sweet. Will you repeat it so that we
Oh
can
yeah.
include it?
She last night, my oldest daughter just wrapped her arms around me and looked up and she says, Mama, I just feel so connected to you. And lit up. And it was just so special. And she, we snuggled up before she went to bed. And I was like, I'm so glad we're still here at 9. I hope that this, she wants to be that excited about feeling close to us
Oh.
for as long as possible.
And and all of that was informed by the way you've handled so many of these small little moments. So don't underestimate, everyone, how these little tiny little seemingly insignificant interactions or struggles, how we handle them inform this overall sense of closeness and connection that our kids have. Thank you for sharing that, Kelsey.
Yes, of course. Thank you.